Next game, Joey Blakers. Okay. Um. Huh. Well, I do remember Scissor Okoing Fairy with just raw bullet punch in very recent times. I think I was like watching a Scissor Oko and Mega Gardevoir with bullet punch, and the Scissor wasn't even choice band, so the Scissor does look pretty scary for that, considering there's no redirection on Blakers. Uh I do think that Joey should be looking towards Trick Room because all his mons are slow as hell, and Blakers probably has a imprisoned Gardevoir with Trick Room to prevent the Trick Room from going up. Same with Miss Magius. Although I think Miss Magius is actually the better mon to imprison Trick Room with because once again, like I said, the Scizor is a huge threat for the Gardevoir, being able to kill it in one, probably barring something like a Sash or Baburi. So I think Blaker should be aiming to prevent Trick Room by all means possible, and Joey should be aiming to set it up by all means possible. So yeah, you see a Slowbro, Clefable lead, and a Sneasel and Fernape. You do see like this looks like double fake out, and this looks like probably Follow Me plus Trick Room. Either Trick Room or just like Nasty Plot with Quick Draw, Quick Claw. Yeah. If it is double fake out, a double fake out is like into both mons is pretty safe. It doesn't get you a lot of ground, but it doesn't lose you any ground either, and it can help you scout for protects. I do think there's also like either of these mons can have taunt. In fact, both could have taunt. And so if let's say a Slowbro has a I was gonna say if a Slowbro is just running a mental herb, it's gonna be able to get taunted on the next move. However, if the Clefable is running Follow Me, the Slowbro is gonna be able to click Trick Room anyways. So I just don't think that this is an incredibly potent lead for Blakers. I would much rather like he led with one of his mons that could just imprison the Trick Room because with redirection, the Slowbro is always able to click Trick Room eventually. You see a Protect coming up from Clefable and Protect coming, yeah, just scouting the fake out from both. And Infernape just clicks Heat Wave, which Terrify Heat Wave to me screams that like it could either be like a boosting item in specs or just charcoal. Or maybe Sash. But I do think that Sash should be on the Sneasel because I think Mischievous is Eviolite. So sometimes I have run like Eviolite Sneasel with a certain Terra that actually like enables it to live certain hits. But I do think that Sash should be in Sneasel in this game, and therefore it probably means for names like either Charcoal or Choice Specs. And well, like a boosting item plus Terra Heat Wave is gonna do a lot. It's not gonna be able to prevent Trick Room from being set up. And after Trick Room is set up, I do think that considering these are the mods, I think Lakers are gonna lose a lot of momentum instantly. So you can see Empoleon comes out, Follow Me gets clicked, which doesn't do anything because of the heat wave. But I think yeah, Trick Room goes up and then Fernape is forced to switch out because it's not almost certainly getting targeted by the Slowbro by whatever move it opts to click. Probably a psychic move. But yeah. Oh, but you do see that it ends up being a physical Slowbro Galar, which clicks Drain Punch into the Empoleon, but is intimidated by the Luxray. And it does nothing. Holy moly. Okay. One, that was piss weak. Like, this is either like really, really defensive or somehow Globro is just running just bulk and defense and not Spadef and not attack. Or maybe he forgot to put EVs into attack. But like, I know that it was intimidated and a Choppleberry, but like, geez, 16% is sad. And so yeah, like it's not suddenly, even though Trick Room gets set up, the Globro is -1, it's drowsy. The Fable, I don't even know if it's running an attack move. If it is running an attack move, it's probably just gonna be like Moonblast. It's not gonna do any damage into Empoleon. So Empoleon is pretty free to just click Yawn again and waste turns of Joey's Trick Room. So yeah, even though Joey has Trick Room set up, he's gonna find it really hard to get his Mons set up in Trick Room in a way to actually utilize its abilities before it runs out, because Empoleon is probably just gonna be spam clicking Yawn and whatever comes in. You see, yeah. The Global is forced to switch out, but if I was Lakers, I'd be clicking Yawn again into the slot. Yeah, Moonblast gets clicked as its only attack in the luxury, does no damage. Lakers does exactly what it said, clicks the Yawn into the slot, and Freddy gets to come back in, and that puts it in such a huge catch 22, because whichever mod is in the slot is going to be constantly forced to eat Yawns, but Clefable's only attacking move is Moonblast, which does nothing into the Infernape. So the Infernape is free to click Heat Wave over and over, as this slot is forced to perma switch because of Yawn. And so I don't see how Joey gets out of this pin. It's really rough. Like, yeah, you can click Life Tube, but this Heat Wave does way too much. Water Pledge, Water Pledge just gets clicked and not Yawn, which is strange. I mean, I don't think Slowbro has a good way of killing the Infernape in one, unless it has a water move, but it does feel to me like Blakers got impatient and gave up his pin for no reason. Because I do think that Blakers could have clicked Yawn and plus Heat Wave over and over, and I don't think there's a whole lot Joey could have done about it. And you do see that I believe that we see that the Globro is what's it called? How much did they get back from 19? I believe they got back to yeah, it got back to 57, and so it came back in at 57, which means that it's not regen, which means that it's very likely just quick draw, which is, I mean, it has upside in the sense that, I mean, you could be getting off the Drain Punch instant, probably whatever fourth attacking move it's running, but also on a set with both Protect and Trick Room, you're not getting the most value out of the Trick Room quick draw itself, which is a bit sad. Yeah.
He might have just thought that it was supposed to kill, because before he Life Dude, they were both pretty low. Like the Heat Wave, I mean.
Oh, you thought the Heat Wave would have just killed the Slowbro slot?
That's what I think,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, but like, he's only seen Scissor. He doesn't know what the last one is. If it was Stunjourner or Camerupt, he would need to click Quad Pledge into the slot of Scissor for just getting yawned.
Yeah, I agree with that. It would have been much better to try and water
clicking
slot.
clicking Water Pledge into the Clefable slot just made very little sense to me. If we wanted to like predict the Mon, like switching in, or like guarantee a KO on this slot, you click Water Pledge there. Yeah, Heatwick is clicked and very, very, very fortunate for it. Wow. Bailed, I guess. Like, Slowbro doesn't even get the chance to fish for extra damage onto the Infernape with it. So, yeah. It does allow Camera to come in, quote unquote, for free, but it is also the last turn of Trickery. And what I can see is just Protect with Empoleon, and then switch out of Infernape, because I mean you don't want Infernape to be taking ground move, and you need Clefable alive next turn to redirect the Water Pledge away from the camera. So yeah, Infernape gets preserved. I'm assuming Empoleon clicks Protect. Terrafire, Eruption. Either the Empoleon is not clicking Protect, or Lakers. I'm not quite sure what the play was, because that was definitely a Protect turn for the last turn of Trick Room.
Yeah, Empoleon did not have Protect this week. That was a bad choice in the team building, but Empoleon didn't have Protect. In retrospect, I should have just gone into the Sneasel.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I mean, it's still probably a fine position because Glowbro is dead. Infernape is probably still going to do a ton with Heat Wave. I think the Sneasel with Fake Out is safe to click Fake Out into the Camerupt, and Infernape can click Heat Wave again. I don't think, like, even though that was pretty ugly, I think the Infernape cleans up this endgame pretty safely. So yeah, you can see the Fake Out. Oh, there's no Fake Out, it's triple Axle the slot. And I think that's a game losing play. I now that the Scissor gets to actually like bullet punch into the Sneasel. And there's no spread Heat Wave to kill off both these mods. Yeah, bullet punch into Sneasel, proc Sash. Infernape, as Sneasel misses the triple axle, and the Moonblast gets clicked in the Sneasel, yeah. And now you can click Follow Me plus ground move. Yeah, because that doesn't kill, and the ground move kills. Wow. That's a terrible choke, I can't lie.
It's tough because if the triple axle hits Clefable, then I do end up winning this game, I think. But
yeah, but
not that
I mean,
triple axle, but the one that missed.
yeah, I into the one here, I get it, but because like I mean, Clefable dies, and then you have a 2v1, but also like if you just clicked Fake Out plus Heat Wave on this turn, I think you always win because Camera is not particularly bulky. Like it does resist Heat Wave, but I'm presuming that like it specs Heat Wave, Terra Fire.
Yeah.
Camera is like this doesn't have Friend Guard. It's not a Clefairy. The camera like the Fake Out has higher same priority as Follow Me, so the Fake Out you're guaranteed to hit the camera up. It's gonna get flinched. You're gonna get Heat Wave damage off, and then the next turn, the Sneasel still has its sash intact because the Scissor didn't get a bullet punch it turn after. So the Scissor is gonna click bullet punch. Like Heat Wave's gonna hit both again, and the camera, unless it's running Earthquake, which I sincerely doubt because it looks like it's most likely gonna be fully special. It's not gonna be able to take out both your mons in one, which means that the Heat Wave or Sneasel with like knockoff cleans up the camera. It's like of course like you're risking Heat Wave misses, but risking Heat Wave misses is preferable than risking the triple axle into the Clefable. Because I don't even think like you kill the Clefable with 2-hit triple axle. I think you might need all three. Well,
that
no, you
makes
probably need it two. But
If
yeah,
you're
that
using Heat Wave,
that's actually a tough call because the Sneasel is max attack here. Joey's speed tiers were in such a way that Sneasel could go adamant here.
yeah. So it probably only needed 2-hit, but like 2-hit axle versus like this Heat Wave hitting stuff. I mean, also like
Yeah.
I think
I think mathematically the odds of even 2 hits of triple axle doesn't look great.
yeah, I think 2-hit axle is like. I mean, 2-hit axle is the same chance of hitting Heat
It,
Wave
it,
on both targets, and you have multiple turns
mhm.
to miss Heat Wave. But also, like you instantly win the game on the spot if you click Heat Wave and the Heat Wave hits onto the oncoming Scissor here. Yeah, like
That makes sense, yeah, because then he takes 3 turns to win and he's slower.
yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah. I think it's just.
I guess I
I mean,
did
it's a
just get
hard call. It's a
impatient.
hard call. 'Cause I don't think that the odds of like triple axle missing versus like Heat Waves missing were all like significantly different. It's just that like this turn makes it very apparent like, oh, this could have been sniped instantly.
Yeah, it
Yeah, this turn makes it look more ugly than it actually is. I like in hindsight now, and I think about it, it's like I don't think the move you made is incredibly wrong. Like, at first, I was gonna say like this is a pretty bad throw, but now it's like, okay, it's not so bad of a throw as much as like the triple axle missing was pretty bad. Like,
Yeah, I would say it was a fine move, but that a better move existed.
yeah, that's
All right, let's watch the next
uh,
one.
yeah. And also, like again, like the whole water pledge into the clavable turn, like you're already bailed out by the burn onto the slow roll. So it's like I guess like luck gives and luck takes away.
I actually think that burn was bad for me.
You wanted the slow roll to live?
Um, it Camerupts couldn't have come in, or Camerupts couldn't have come in and hit under Trick Room if Slowbro doesn't die to the burn.
Mm,
Like
That's
if
true.
he's
Slowbro is way less threatening than the camera up.
yeah, if he's got
yeah.
one more turn with this board in there,
Mhm.
then I don't really fear anything that either of these two is doing.
Fair, but also
But
it's also just like for me, it's just questionable in the sense that like um if you do know that like Joey has a team that like seems like running a trick room mode. I don't think I remember his team being like solely relying on trick room, but it's proven that he's enjoyed bringing trick room week one and because he's brought trick room game two. Like you didn't bring either of your mons that could trick room in prison, and then you also didn't have mons that could stall out trick room turns with protect because this guy is specs and this guy doesn't have protect. So it's like um you're inviting bad luck to happen to you um by doing these things like by either like not setting yourself up to prevent trick room
that
um
makes sense.
and just not having prep for being within the trick room itself because by all means if Joey didn't put himself in the blender with the yawn plus heat wave like hitting over and over, there's a chance that like the camera could have been positioned better within the trick room and then you would have been in a shitty position anyways with the camera up. So it's like, with better position from Joey, you have been in a bad spot either way, considering what you brought. So, um, I think the biggest thing is not to rag on you because, like I said, I don't think you played necessarily terribly, but I think the cool part about draft is that there's always like little nuances and bits that you can improve on both in like your prep and your play. And sometimes just eking out these percentage differences can be enough to turn a losing game into a winning one. And just like
Mhm.
risking a slightly like 1% less chance is able
Sometimes
to
you
win
do
the
get
game.
punished for those things.
Yes. Yeah, especially in a variance heavy meta such as VGC. I think singles is a lot less like variance, but VGC is a pretty variance heavy meta, and I do think like a lot of top players don't even like running spread moves that much because most of the common spread moves like Heat Wave, Electro Web, stuff like Bleak Windstorm and Wildbot Storm from the Tornadoes and Thunderous guys. A lot of these like common spread moves have a good chance of risking, and people when they have an out that they don't have to risk anything in, they try to go for those angles. And if they do have to risk something, they often go for angles that they have to risk the least opportunities possible. So yeah, just like food for thought. But yeah, that's a lot of yap for just game one. See if game two does adaptations. We see Hitmon top Stormjourner. So we do see the adaptation. Mischievous does come in, which I so is the expected for me anti trick room mon. But we do see some journey of him on top, anyways. Him on top does look to be pretty scary. Um, there is a Choppel and Polion, which I presume is going to see a competitive boost right now. Yep. So Joey is off to a bad spot again because uh this Empoleon looks to be pretty threatening. And I do think that like the Empoleon could very much Terra. I know it does look like a waste of a Terra because we do have the Shuffle, but I think that if Empoleon gets off an attack here, it's very, very good. And I think there's a chance that a double up from him on top with a fighting move plus a ground move from Sojourner, because a power spot might be able to pick up the Keon and Empoleon through the Shuffle. And Mischievous doesn't look like it's instantly threatening either of these guys. Now, it is worth saying that Mischievous can Wisp one of these two mons, and if it does land the Wisp, Empoleon probably doesn't die to a double up and gets an attack off. But that's one, presuming it does have Wisp, because if it's running Trickery in Prison and Wisp, then it's like it's already like 3 out of 4 moves being used up. Then the last move, I presume, would have to be Shadow Ball in a sense, or Hex. Probably Shadow Ball for more consistent damage. Yeah. Yeah, Joey, if he wants to be safe, can just click Fake Out into Napoleon and click an attack with Sojourner. But instead opts to just click a Rock Slide, which is faster than everything. I don't know if that signifies that Sojourner is a Choice Scarf set. It would depend heavily on like whether Blakers is training his Mischievous and speed at all, or if it just happens to be the fastest mon on the field naturally. Okay, so yeah, it does carry the Wisp, which means that Empoleon is not going to take a lot from the close combat, which also means that yeah, Empoleon would have gotten the attack off if not for the flinch.
Rock Slide Gaming, baby.
Yeah, that's pretty bad because Empoleon now dies to the next close combat, and it feels really sad to like be forced Terra now. Like, because you're still gonna take a ton from the Rock Slide because it's looking like the Sojourner outspeeds the Mischievous, and like I said, he doesn't carry protecting Napoleon. So even though Napoleon got a competitive boost, it's looking like it's not gonna be able to get off an attack at all. Now it is worth saying that it's possible that Napoleon doesn't need to attack to get a win off because Mischievous getting to burn both of these mons could still be enough to be in a great position, depending on what Blakers has in the back. But Rock Slide gets clicked once more, Wisp gets clicked in the Sojourner, Close Combat comes out and takes out Napoleon. Makes sense to me so far. Okay. Gardevoir comes in, and I think this will be very telling, depending on if Gardevoir is Scarf or not. If Gardevoir is not Scarf, you can tell Sojourner is Scarf from next turn. So we see him on top switches out. Gardevoir clicks Protect, which means that it's not Scarf. Rock Slide does nothing, the Mischievous, and the Shadow Ball gets clicked and crits into the Scissor. That's big. I don't know how big it is, because the Bullet Punch is immediately threatening to the Gardevoir, unless it's Berry Berry, which means that Gardevoir either has to Terra into Terra Poison, or it's forced to switch out. So we'll have to see. It Terras into Poison, the Bullet Punch goes into it, still does a ton, and we do get confirmed that it is Scarf Sojourner, and it does lift a hit. But Gardevoir's Life Orb takes itself out, and the Destiny Bond does nothing. Yeah, it's looking wraps.
The Destiny Bond there was really bad.
Yeah, Destiny Bond achieves nothing. Heat Wave does get clicked, but like you see, without the Fire Terra, it's doing a lot less to Clefable. And yeah, I do think that completely wraps this game up for Joey. Yep. The Inferno just can't muscle through these 2 mons right now.
That turn 1 flinch. Oh.
Yeah, the turn 1 flinch.
It was The him on top was Assault Vest, and turn 1, I was prioritizing hitting the him on top over the Stonejourner.
Ooh.
So him on top probably would have lived, but that chip would have been pretty valuable.
Yeah. I do think that, like, for me at least, it did seem like fairly telegraphed that like Sandrina was um choice scarf, considering that it was just like spamming rock slide over and over,
I
which
mean,
meant that
yeah, once I saw the first rock slide, I knew it was Scarf.
Mhm.
But by that point, I had already locked in my moves for the first turn, and the soonest
Yeah,
I could do anything about it was turn 2, where I opted to burn it.
yeah. Also, like, it's surprising they chose to like attack the Hitmontop with the Empoleon. Like, I guess like the obvious, like you could have been expecting a protect from the Sternjourner, but also like Sternjourner is always threatening both, like because it actually is a very good attack stat to your Choppel, but also because Power Spot is a really OP ability, and it would be like so much more OP if it wasn't on the Mon Esh the Sternjourner. Genuinely.
Yeah.
So if anything, I would have liked either to attack with both mons because Mischievous could have attacked into the Sundurna instead of um the Wisp because Sundurna has such awful def that like the Shadow Ball probably would have done a good amount. Like it probably would have been 2 KO even on no investment. Like I was gonna like look at it right now.
I like when you find a Mon with blank sets because it means no one has ever tried to use it.
Yeah, like Shadow Ball just easily like even if like this is no investment in Mischievous, even if you even with max HP Stunjourner, it's an
It's still
easy
a 2-hit
2 KO
KO.
because
Yeah.
20 death is insane. Like even if you do choose like you say that okay my base HP is enough, I'm gonna invest everything into my Spadef. Like it's like a free KO. Which is like it's also just forced to run everything into Spadef. So yeah, Stunjourner has no Spadef whatsoever. So it's probably just wise to have split the damage. But yeah, what can you do? Like this game was unfortunate, and the fact that like you're relying on Terra and Gardevoir to lift the scissor, but you don't even have steel resistant Terra, which means that you take way too much from Bullet Punch plus Rock Slide that kind of get more value out of it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
I don't have a g I think the reason that I brought Poison instead of Steel this week on Gardevoir was to try and, avoid a pin where it's something like a Slowbro next to Hitmontop or a Scizor
Mhm.
next to or a Scizor next to a Hitmontop.
Maybe a Terra Fire would have been better.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that.
maybe, but also I think in my head, I think Water Terra was really safe. No,
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's really true.
was there something in the back? But like,
There was the Electrode that didn't come this week,
I'm not
but
afraid
but
of Electrode ever.
but yeah,
Can't worry
but
about
besides exactly Electrode, Water would have been really good here.
Because
And
this thing about Gardevoir is that your Spadef is much higher than your Fizdef, and I don't think
mhm,
Electrode is like it's probably gonna be like Electro Web or like Discharge, or Thunderbolt, and
yeah,
even if you tear
it's
water, it's
generally
not
not
gonna do
trying to
anything.
kill you.
it. Hits like a
Yeah,
pool noodle.
yeah, very soggy pool noodle. So I do think that not being a steel resistant Terra was bad. So yeah, like again, definitely, I'm not gonna say that you deserve to lose outright because you got very unfortunate rock slide, but there's optimizations that you could have made that would have made your path to winning way more possible, even barring the bad luck in both games.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I always try to coach like newer players with is that, of course, like you can blame your losses to bad luck, but blaming all your losses to bad luck and not taking any accountability for your own games is how you stagnate. You can never improve if you don't look towards what could have done better in both prep and play. Because I can tell you this, there's nothing more satisfying than winning a game that you got lucked in. I remember a game where an Iron Bundle froze my Pheasantipity, which was my counter for it, and I still outplayed turns within Trick Room with Pheasantipity, just switching in and out, getting chip Black Sludge Recovery, stalling out Trick Room, and still winning the game, and I just rubbed it in my opponent's face. Like, that was incredibly satisfying. And so, if you do manage to just like optimize your game in such a way that even when you get slightly unlucky, you can still win, that's gonna get you to experience a feeling that's just so euphoric. Yeah.
It's very hard to
highly
get through a
recommend it.
game without getting slightly unlucky.
Yeah, there's always going to be like slight luck in VDC because of how high variance like flinches, status, crits, misses can be. So
Mhm.
yeah, just like focusing on what you can change instead of focusing on what you can't is going to lead you to higher highs. But yeah,
Yeah,
overall, just
and for what it's worth, my Infernape didn't miss a single heat wave throughout the entire set, and that's kind of ridiculous to think about.
I mean, I think with the amount of keybases clicked, I still think that you have maybe like a over 50% chance, like maybe off the top of my head, I would guess like you had a 56% chance to land off heat waves, maybe? Could be talking on my ass, but you're probably more likely than not, but not by much. Yeah.